So welcome to at Home with the Elements with Buddha Fields. As we move into the space of consciousness, just invite you to roll out your mat. In fact, let's begin this practice. Instead of rolling out of the mat, maybe you can find a cushion and just prop your tailbone up. So sit on the table, come to a comfortable seated posture. And rest the hands in chin mudra. Just resting the hands on the knees. And just inviting you to close the eyes. And bring your awareness to your breath. Coming in and out of the nostrils. The rise and fall of the belly. So that breath, the focus of the breath coming in and out of the nostrils, we've been using within this movement practice to anchor our awareness to the breath. As we kind of bob along, or as we immerse ourselves in this ocean. And at first we can begin to just observe the thoughts, the stream of thoughts flowing through us. Trying not to hang on to any particular train of thought, but just watching the thoughts flow by. As we keep on coming back to the breath. And we have all the previous elements which we have been building on, which we can build on, which part by part we transform. So feel that grounding underneath you. Feel your tailbone dropping and seat bones dropping into the ground, onto the floor. Feel the element of water within you flowing, rippling up and down the body, moving with the breath. The element of fire, maybe in the belly, or the element of this kind of fire of your awareness, tuning and developing the flame of your awareness. As we move into the flow of air, the prana flowing in and out of the nostrils, expanding from the belly, breathing, expanding outwards, inwards, upwards. The thoracic cage expands, breathing up towards the throat, to the nostrils, filling up with this prana, almost following the breath up to the forehead, to the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, this apana dropping down, down, down into the ground underneath you, the earth holding you, supporting you. Bring your awareness back to the breath. And then from air, we moved into space, to ether. So feeling that spaciousness within you. Just recapping on the elements within. Just watching the flow of breath coming in and out of the nostrils. and observing the flow of thoughts, which are possibly a constant stream. Just acknowledging that and how it is. Great. And from there we can just come out of a seated posture and we'll come over onto our mats. And we'll lay out on the back, knees up, the feet flat on the floor. Bend the elbows and bring the fingertips to rest somewhere on the rib cage. So you can experience this movement of breath under the sense of touch, under the fingertips. As you watch the flow of breath coming in and out of the nostrils, the rise and fall of the belly. Feel now this plane of contact underneath you, the floor, the ground holding you. And with every exhalation, can you encourage and allow, give yourself permission to drop into the earth. Feel the earth's embrace as we let go. And then we'll take the hands behind the back of the head. Interlock the fingers, rest the back of the head in the hands, drop the elbows down to the ground. Feeling the shoulders, the shoulder blade. And then we're going to move and shift the breath, kind of moving into what we could call a yogic breath. We're going to lengthen, encourage the lengthening of the exhalation and the deepening of the inhalation. So next exhalation, lengthen that exhalation, long, long exhalation down. And when the in-breath comes, encourage it to expand outwards, sideways, upwards to the collarbones, to the throat. Imagine the breath filling all the way up to the nostrils, up to the forehead, the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, visualize the breath going down the back, down the spine, and possibly out of the tailbone, out of the feet, into the earth. This upward moving force, this upward breath of prana, moving up the front of the body. And this downward moving force, this of apana, exhaling down the back of the body, down the spine, into the ground, down the back, into the ground. Inhale fully, deeply. Exhale. So on a biological level, we're kind of oxygenating the blood, but on this in this yogic framework, we begin to work more clearly with this prana, this life force, this chi flowing through the body. We'll lift the feet up off the ground and we'll begin to move and be guided by the breath. So as you inhale, we're stepping and lifting the feet up towards the ceiling, stepping up towards the ceiling. And then when the exhalation comes, just drop the heels, the weight of the heels down to the bum. So we inhale the feet up and exhale the feet, dropping the heels down to the bum. Again, just being guided by that breath. There's a pause at the end of the exhalation, the heels are down. Before then, the inhalation draws those feet up towards the ceiling, holding up towards the ceiling as you reach the top of your in-breath. And then the exhalation drops the heels down. So it's not so much as an aerobic exercise, but one that's been increasingly guided by this yogic breath, this full deep inhalation, this long, long exhalation. We're kind of pumping this prana through this physical body that we inhabit. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. On your next exhalation, just drop the feet down to the floor, heels on the ground and knees up. And just notice the changes. Notice the feeling of energy possibly within the body. This flow of prana moving through the subtle body. This kind of nervous system. Or within the yogic framework, we refer to them as nadis, or you'll have heard them referred possibly as the meridian lines. But we'll work with these nadis, these 72,000 nadis that flow through the physical body, connecting the physical body to this electrical body, or astral body, or subtle body, however you like to frame it. So let's shift the hands so that they're supporting the neck as well as the head. We lift the elbows up towards and lift it, look up towards the knees. We're going to curl, we begin to do these curls in. So as you inhale, again guided by the breath, elbows to the knees, knees to the elbows. As you exhale, unravel and fold down to the ground. Head, shoulders, feet, yeah. We're inhaling, coming up. And exhaling, unfolding down, down into the earth. Inhale, come up. And exhale, unravel. So as we kind of switch ourselves onto the autopilot of the breath, the movement will come and be guided by the breath. And you can then take your awareness down to the navel area, down to the tummy button, the belly. Feel the flame of your awareness there on the belly and the navel area. And it's the one point where these 72,000 nadis intersect. The only point that they all intersect. Your hara. It's the one place where for the first 9 months of your developing life, within your mother's womb, you got all your nutrients, all your sustenance, all your energy, all the flow, blood, the oxygen that you needed to move into your physical body. So we'll inhale this time, curling up. Exhale, step the feet up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, just slowly lower those legs down to the ground, but keeping them straight. Just before the heels touch the ground, we're going to inhale, bend the knees, elbows to the knees, knees to the elbows. Exhale, step the feet up towards the ceiling. Slowly again, lowering those legs down, down, down to the ground. But before they touch the ground, inhale, bend the knees, coming back up, elbows to knees, knees to the elbows, feel the belly. Inhale, exhale, stretching out, stepping up, and this time with control, just slowly lowering those legs down, down, down to the ground. Drop them on the floor. Part the heels, mat width apart. Take the arms alongside the body, the palms up. Close the eyes, relax the jaw. Boom, Shavasana for the first time. Almost feel like the inhalation is coming in through the belly, through the tummy button as you take this next deep in-breath. This air, this prana coming in through the blowhole of maybe of a porpoise or a dolphin as you take this full deep breath. Long exhalation, sinking down, down into this ocean, being held by the earth underneath you. So we take these full deep breaths up the front of the body, from the belly, from the navel, expanding the thoracic cage, outwards, sideways, breathing up to the collarbones, to the throat. Can you feel yourself filling up to the nostrils? Imagine the breath going to the forehead, to the crown of the head, and then as you exhale, just watch the breath coming down the back of the neck, down the back, into the ground. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Maybe anchoring your awareness on the flow of breath now coming in and out of the nostrils. Can you observe again this flow, this stream of the mind, of the thoughts flowing? So increasingly we kind of move into that witnessing self where you're watching, observing the breath, observing the body, but observing the flow of the mind, the thoughts coming and going. So let's bring the heels together. We stretch the arms up alongside the ears, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up and out, stretch the toes and heels away, toes and heels away, and draw and hug both knees towards the chest. Gently rocking side to side, left and right. Inhale, exhale. Let's come back to center. Let's drop that right foot to the floor. Hold on to the left knee. Gently move that left knee side to side, left and right. You're feeling into that range of movement there in that hip. It's resistance. And it's looseness as well. Can you feel and breathe into that left side? Then we bring that knee back in center. Hug the knee, engage the heels, splay the toes. Deepening that connection into that left side. So we begin to open up and connect this left side of the body. And then we'll step that left foot up towards the ceiling, supporting behind the back of the leg. Either holding behind the thigh or the calf. Avoid holding behind the knee as we begin to inhale the toes up towards the ceiling. Exhale the toes down towards the face, the heel away. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Moving forwards and backwards with the breath. Up and down with breath. Feeling to the subtle stretch in this left side, in this left leg, the calf, the shin. Again, this flow of prana, this flow of energy. Coursing through the body. Connecting up this left side. Come back to center. We'll step that left foot up towards the ceiling and lift the head and shoulders. We'll walk the hands at that left leg and stretch the heel away. So briefly feeling the tension in this hamstring, just ever so briefly, and release that tension. We bend that knee, drop the head back, and take the left foot onto the raised right thigh. The left hand on that left knee as you move it forwards and backwards. Again, we're just exploring this different flexion, this different opening in this left hip. Come back to center. We lift the head and shoulders. We take that left hand through the gap in the leg. Lift and hug that right knee, that right thigh towards us. Engage the heels, splay the toes. Drop your awareness now, this flame of your awareness, down into the ground, the back supported, the earth underneath you. Then come back to noticing what's happened to the breath. Maybe we're holding the breath. Maybe it's become a little bit more shallow as we explore these grosser sensations in that left hip and that left joint and the knee possibly. Take some full deep breaths here. As you take this full deep inhalation, this belly expands, this abdominal breath, expanding down into the left side, into that left hip where your awareness can't but help alight upon. You're feeling into that left hip, the resistance there. With every exhalation, this apnea, this dropping, expelling of tension possibly, you'll see and observe this opening. Full deep inhalation, breathing into that left side, into that left hip, that left buttock. And then as you exhale, allow yourself to soften a little. Inhale, breathing again into that left side, full deep inhalation. And then this time as we exhale, we're going to release. Both feet to the floor, knees up, roll the head back. Rest the hands over the center of the chest, over the heart center. Feel into the left side of the body opening up. Can you feel the left side of the body Just take your awareness to the subtle sensations there. So not only within these yogic asanas or postures are we beginning to work with the physical body, but increasingly we're attuning our awareness to get interested in the subtle body of this left side. The three main nadis that we begin to use and work with within yoga, well, on the left side of the spine, beginning at the base of the spine and ending up at the left side of at the back of the left nostril, is Ida Nadi, the moon breath. So feeling into that left side, feeling the hands resting over the center of the heart center. And then we can move into exploring the right side. So hugging that right knee towards us, engaging the heels, splaying the toes, gently rocking that right knee left and right, side to side. Again, we're just exploring the range of movement in our own physical bodies. There's no end result. There's no end point to reach with our physical bodies. We're just exploring where we are on our particular journey, our individual journey with these physical bodies, acknowledging them, accepting them, trying not to judge them, and then bringing that knee back close to center. We're hugging that knee, we're engaging the heels, we're splaying the toes, deepening that connection into that right side, the right hip, acknowledging the knee. And then we'll step that right foot up towards the ceiling, supporting behind the back of the leg. We're moving once again with the breath. As we take a deep inhalation, the toes point up towards the ceiling. Feel the stretch up the front of the foot. As you exhale, draw the toes back down towards the face, the heel away, the stretch in the back of the calf maybe. So we're moving forwards and backwards with the breath, getting interested in the subtle stretch and sensations of that right side. Inhaling up and exhaling down. So on this right side, the nadi here on the right side, starting at the base of the spine and ending up at the back of the right nostril, is Pingala Nadi, the sun breath. So Hatha yoga, Hat and Tha, sun and moon, is a balancing of the left and right side. It's almost this balancing of the yin and yang, but the sun and moon. Bringing that foot back to center, we're drawing a circle with the foot rotating the ankle one way. And then in the opposite direction. Come back to center, step up towards the ceiling, lift the head and shoulders. We're walking the hands up that right leg, the heel away, just briefly feeling into the stretch in that right hamstring, and then releasing that tension. Roll the head back onto the ground, bend that right knee, and take the outside of that right foot onto the left thigh. With that right hand on the knee, we're just exploring that different flexion in that hip. We're feeling into as well the resistance that's there, that's in the knee. Often the knees kind of guard and protect the deeper release of the hips. So be aware what's there in the knees too. So feeling into the movement, your range of movement, in that right hip. Come back to center. We lift the head and shoulders. We take that right hand through the gap in the leg, and we lift and hug this left thigh or left knee. Engage the heels, splay the toes. Then straight away, drop your awareness into the ground. Can you acknowledge what's happened to the breath? Feeling these grosser sensations now in this right side, in this right hip. Often encourage the breath to become shallow, or even hold the breath as we focus our awareness there. But encourage this yogic breath to come back in. Long, long exhalations. Full, deep inhalation. This is abdominal breath. As you take this full, deep breath, can you feel the breath expanding from the belly? Down into that right side, down into that right hip, feeling resistance there. And then as you exhale, just encouraging a softening. Just encouraging or giving permission for an opening to happen there in that right side, and letting go. We'll always kind of meet the tension there, but breathe into the tension that you feel, that you find. The prana traveling with your awareness down into that right side. Long exhalation, full deep inhalation. And then as we take this next exhalation, we'll unravel and fold both feet to the floor, the knees up, drop the head back, rest the hands over the center of the chest, over the heart center. As you all kind of be aware, as we balance the left and the right side out, the Ida and the Pingala Nadi within this yogic framework, the prana is then able to flow more freely through our central axis, through the center of the spine. And one of the other main nadis, or the central nadi, is called Sushumna. It could be similar to the parasympathetic nervous system that runs through the spine. So there's this cerebral spinal fluid that flows through our center of being. So let's bring the soles of the feet together, and we drop the knees down to the ground. Drop the knees up and down to the ground, and they possibly open the hips a bit beyond their limit, so you could lift the knees up a fraction, and we'll tilt the pelvis forwards and backwards, pushing the lower lumbar to the ground and release, pushing the lower lumbar to the ground and release, and then come back to center. We'll lift the head and shoulders, we take the hands down towards the feet, lift the feet, soles still together, hold onto the feet. Then we're pushing the heels just ever so slightly back down to the ground. And in doing so, you do begin to feel this increased stretch on the inside of the thighs, the legs. And then from here, we're beginning to guide and encourage the feet to travel up towards the head to travel towards the feet. You could take the hands through the gap in the leg to the outside edge of the feet and find a balance there somewhere in your center. Breathing into what you find. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And release both feet to the floor, the knees up, and rest the hands once again over the center of the chest, over the heart center. So dropping into the ground underneath you, feeling the earth coming up to support you. Relax the jaw, maybe close the eyes. Again, we're tuning our awareness into the subtle energy, the subtle body, and the ebb and flow of prana within the body. The ebb and flow of the mind as the thoughts come and go, flowing on that stream of awareness. Again, a useful anchor is taking the focus onto the breath coming in and out of the nostrils. Is one nostril clearer than the other? Are they both more open now as we balance this left and right side out? Because we can equally, within the yoga practice of pranayama, we can then begin to influence the balance of the body by the focus of the breath, flowing freely and balanced through this left and right nostrils, at the back of the nostrils connected to those nadis we talked of, the Ida and the Pingala, balancing them out, allowing that increased flow through our central Sushumna. Okay. Let's take and hug both knees towards the chest, gently rocking side to side, left and right, rocking, massaging the internal organs. And then we can roll over onto one side. I think my dog wants to join in. So come up onto all fours.
That's so funny.
We come up onto the knees, onto the hands. We have this different relationship with the weight of the body and the earth underneath us, supporting us. And maybe drawing a circle with the hips, moving one way. And then in the opposite direction. Going back to center. And ever so slightly taking the weight more over onto the hands. Just forward onto the hands. And then when you come to your next exhalation, can you exhale the tailbone back towards the heels? Keep the hands engaged, keep the arms engaged, long, lengthen. Don't bend the elbows as you drop the forehead forwards, the forehead searching for the ground, for the earth. Connecting that forehead to the earth. And here, inhale through the nose and exhale out of an open mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale out of an open mouth. We're kind of beginning to spotlight some of the tension that our shoulders do a great job in holding for us. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out of the mouth, physically manifesting in these kind of tense muscles there, perhaps. The next inhalation, we're inhaling forwards and up. Now go tentatively here and move away from any particular strain, particularly in the lower back. But the journey is that we're inhaling, tilting the pelvis forwards, the thighs are dropping down to the ground. Again, this is where you need to be aware of your own bodies and move away from any discomfort, particularly in the lower back. But we're inhaling, exhaling, we're dropping the hips down towards the ground, we're lifting the chin, we're lifting the chest, and we're taking the gaze of our eyes, which is natural bandha, a natural lock, up towards the ceiling, up towards the forehead, up towards the brow, the center of our brow. And then on the next exhalation, we're exhaling the tailbone back towards the heels, long stretched, engaged arms, engaged hands, the forehead now, the crown, the forehead dropping down to connect with the earth. Exhaling out. The inhalation then will draw you forwards and through and up. So we're being guided once more by our breath. Inhaling forwards and through, lifting up, lifting the gaze of the eyes up towards the forehead. Exhaling back, dropping the forehead down towards the earth. So we're bringing our awareness to the pineal gland, which is in the center of the skull in line with the forehead. We're inhaling forwards and through and up. Lifting the chin, lifting the head, lifting the gaze of the eyes, again stimulating this. We've got a third eye, exhaling forwards and back, exhaling forwards and back, yeah. And then we'll inhale, exhale, just drop the elbows down to the ground, just in an easy child. We can take the arms alongside the body, the palms up. Again, inhaling through the nose, exhaling out of the mouth. Allowing the emotional body to soften, to release, to let go. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So let's come up onto all fours. Adjust the weight of the body equally through the hands, through the knees. Drop the belly to the ground. We'll tilt the tailbone up towards the ceiling. So this is kind of curve of the lower lumbar. And we're lifting the chin, we're lifting the head, and we're lifting the gaze of our awareness. Kind of the flame of our awareness, take the flame of our awareness to the center now of the forehead as you take the gaze of the eyes up there, this natural bandha, this natural look. We're stimulating the pineal gland. We're kind of at the turn of your puberty, the pineal gland begins to calcify. So we're going to encourage this breath up the front of the body on every deep inhalation. traveling up the front of the body, to the chest, to the collarbones, to the throat. Can you feel the breath going to the nostrils? And imagine the breath going to the center of the forehead. Prana traveling there. Exhaling up and down, down into the ground. So we're kind of enabling ourselves to decalcify that gland there, kind of freeing up the seat of our intuition, the center and seat of our awareness. Long exhalation down, full deep inhalation up. And then on the exhalation, we're going to exhale forwards. Next exhalation, exhale the head forwards, drop the head forwards, push the hands, arch the back. So we're moving into this cat stretch. Tilt the pelvis forwards, tailbone down, but relax the neck. Hold this posture here for a few moments. Now with an awareness of the belly, the navel area. So there's the seat of our fire, the seat of our of tejas in the belly, the digestive fire. Just feel into that place. There's a natural bandha there as the tummy is drawn in. You're just feeling the physical, first the physical awareness there, then maybe the subtle body in that point. A few breaths there, a bit more restricted with the breath. And then on the next inhalation, we're inhaling forwards and through again, lifting the chin, lifting the head, taking the gaze of the eyes up towards the forehead. Now being guided by your full deep yogic breath, exhaling forwards and down, dropping head, relaxing neck, awareness of the belly, the fire in the belly. And then as you inhale, we're drawing the fire of your awareness up, forwards and through, up the front of the body, up to the third eye, to the center of the forehead. Exhaling forwards and down. So again, just continue to be guided by your own breath. What's bouncing in between these 2 points. And as the autopilot of the breath is switched on, let's take our interest into the movement of the back, the undulations of the spine. Enjoying this kind of creating this space almost in between the vertebrae. So there's this natural harmonic or resonance and waves that are flowing through that cerebral spinal fluid, through the central Shushumna, and coming back to center. Let's ease off on those wrists. Let's drop back into a child. Maybe this time engage child. So you can bend, open the knees up, the toes coming together. You sink onto the elbows. And maybe you need to use one potato, two potato with the fist to rest the forehead on the fist. But gradually, bit by bit, just see where you are on the journey of the forehead coming back down in connection with the earth underneath you. The divine Mother Earth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Great. And then coming up. We'll come up just to sit on the heels. If the knees are comfortable in that position. Otherwise, if the knees are whispering any sort of complaint, you could just ease off and sit over onto one side. Otherwise, if you're okay there, we will just sit on the heels, rest the hands on the thighs, find the crown of the head lifting up, roll the shoulders back. In fact, let's take the hands, fingertips over onto the shoulders. We inhale the elbows up, exhale, round back and down. Inhaling forwards through and up. Exhale, round back and down. Inhale, exhale. And then back in the opposite direction. So inhaling back, up, exhaling forwards, round and down. One more round. And then release. Shrug the shoulders to the ears and release. Shrug the shoulders to the ears and release. Great. And then bring the hands to rest on the center of the chest. Watch the flow of the breath. Anchor your awareness to the flow of the breath coming in and out of the nostrils. Feel maybe your beating heart under the touch of the palms. Just watching the breath coming in and out of the nostrils. And also acknowledging the stream of thoughts that are there. The movement and stream of the mind. So within this yogic framework, there's another nadi called Chittannadi, which originates in the center of the heart, in the center of the chest, and goes up to our brain. And you'll know and be aware of this nadi just through the flow of the movement of your mind, the flow of thoughts, the flow of consciousness, of your consciousness. And when the flow comes from the center of the heart, through this heart up towards the brain, it's an upward flow of consciousness, of thoughts. But equally, there it can be a downward flow of those thoughts, a deeper consciousness dropping into your heart center. So let's come back to that. But we'll sit over onto one side and we'll stretch those legs out and shake those legs out. Come into this forward bend with the heels of the hands in line with the bum. We push into the heels of the hands, splay the fingers, ground the palms, roll the shoulders back, the crown of the head lifts. So we're constantly looking to encourage this flow of prana through our central axis, through the parasympathetic nervous system up to the hypothalamus of the brain on a biological level. We're looking at increasing this flow and increasing well-being, I suppose. The hands coming into prayer position over the heart center, the forearms parallel to the ground. And we don't need to come flat over onto our thighs to reach it anyway. We don't need to come to the edge or the fullness of any posture in yoga, but we're leading now forwards with the chin. We're folding at the waist, coming to the edge of your resistance where you can't go any further. The tension in the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, the lower back prevents you from moving any further. And then we can release, we can hang on to the ankles, the shins, maybe working towards the toes. But wherever you are, the crown of the head lifting up away from the tailbone. Again, encouraging this long back, encouraging the stream of your consciousness to flow freely through your central Chittannadi, from the heart center all the way up to the crown of the head. But here we're taking then and feeling into the stretch in the back of the body, your own edge, your own boundary, the own boundary of your physical movement in this moment. And we're breathing into it. We're taking our awareness to that stretch and taking the breath there. The breath, the prana will follow our awareness. Full deep inhalations, long exhalations. Now, which parts of the body is particularly speaking to you? Can you acknowledge that part of the body? Can you breathe into it? Can you allow prana energy to flow into that part of the body? And can you exhale, allowing then apana to drop into the ground, allowing yourself to soften there? Allowing, giving that part of the body permission to relax a little. Breathing deeply into it. And we inhabit these physical bodies. And so there's always going to be a resistance. And there's always going to be a range of movement there. But that's what we have to work with. We're feeling and exploring the boundaries of this physical vessel, which is us. And then we can feel into, as we inhale forwards, stretching forwards and up and release. And we can then be more attuned with the subtle body within. Let's part the feet, heels wide apart. And lift the crown of the head, tailbone kind of tilted forwards. Bring the hands now over into that heart center.
Yeah, like a tin. Look, there's tin.
And we're folding forwards at the waist.
There, look.
We're folding forwards at the hips.
I think he saw you.
We're folding forwards at the hips. Just come to, again, that edge of the resistance where you can't go any further. And then from here, can you take your hands, your arms out, just ever so slowly, just tentatively. Bring the weight of the upper torso forwards and down, hands down to the ground, dropping the hands onto the floor. The heels away, stretch those toes up towards the ceiling. Feel the stretch at the back of the legs now increased. Breathe again. Watch what happens to the breath. Every time we take ourselves into these grosser sensations of the body, the breath can become shallow. We could almost hold the breath as if we're really concentrating, but encourage that long exhalation. This full, deep inhalation again. Whenever we reach this stretch, we kind of agitate the mind. And you can ease off it a little if you need to. If you feel the mind is agitated, the thoughts are jumping in to try and snatch you away from being so silly as to experience that stretch on the inside of the thighs. But just calmly approaching it with the breath. Again, with every inhalation, the prana, the awareness flowing into that stretch in the legs, into that opening. And with every exhalation, allowing yourself to soften. Inhale, exhale. And then we'll walk those hands just slowly over to the left leg. Either side of that left leg, the heel away, toes up. Lift the crown of the head, feel this length in the back. And just in these small adjustments, just observe what happens to the rest of the body. For me, this whole stretch now increased in that right side. In the inside of my right thigh, the toes engage, the heels away. We take that right hand to the outside of that left leg, the left hand behind you on the ground, maybe you're around 7 o'clock. Plant that hand firmly on the ground, push into that hand, the crown of the head lifts. And then we're ever so slightly turning out over that left shoulder with a small twist here, the beginnings of a twist. And then bringing that left hand back round to that left leg. And now the right hand traveling up towards the ceiling. Take your gaze up towards that right palm, that right hand. Lifting up, and that right hand coming back round to that left leg. Crown of the head lifts. Can you encourage again the lengthening of the back of the spine? Feel the crown of the head lifting away from the tailbone. So it doesn't matter how far down we get or how supple we are within yoga. We're just exploring our own boundaries, our own edge, and breathing up to that edge and seeing and watching, observing, softening the change. Let's move those hands back slowly towards the center and all the way out and over on either side of that right leg. The crown of the head lifts. We can bring that left hand to the right leg and then walk that right hand behind the back. Plant that right hand on the ground, on the floor, around 4 o'clock. Push into that hand. The crown of the head lifts again, this lengthened back in the spine. We turn out over that right shoulder. Just a small twist. You can help yourself with both hands, hand on the ground, and there's a little movement of that left hand on that right leg. Take your awareness. What's happening to the rest of the body? How does this affect the stretch? Breathe into it. Acknowledge it. Full deep inhalation, long exhalation. Now we bring that right hand back round to that right leg and this left hand stretching up towards the ceiling. Taking your gaze up towards that left palm. And that left hand coming back round to that right leg. Lifting up. And then walking those hands back to center. And maybe stretching forwards in the prayer position. Slowly inhaling up. Deeper stretch. And release. Okay, let's bring these feet, heels back together. Shake those feet and heels out. Okay. Let's try that to come to this twist. So we'll bend the left knee and we'll step that left foot out over that raised right knee. So the left foot over that right knee on the ground. Great. And this is if you're familiar with this this twist and your knees aren't complaining, you could roll over onto that right side and bend that right knee so that then that left heel comes back to sit just in between that right heel. Again, listen to your knees and not me. So maybe those knees are complaining a little, whispering, complaining. Stretch that right leg out. So see where you are with this. But wherever you are, we're still doing the same work. We're hugging that left knee, the crowned head lifts. We're stretching that right arm up towards the ceiling and we're taking that right elbow out over that raised left knee, locking it there. The left hand on the ground behind you, plant that left hand firmly on the floor, as close to the back as you can, as close to your center as you can. Push into that left hand, the crowned head lifts. We're aligning ourselves and then we're twisting out, turning out over that left shoulder. The movement of the collarbones opening away from one another. We're kind of helping ourselves with this elbow against that raised knee, pushing slightly against that, encouraging a twist. But again, only moving to your own edge, up to your own limit. Don't attempt to go beyond it. Just breathing into and watching, observing where your body is. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale fully deeply. Long, long exhalations. Inhale. Exhale. And release. We come out over to the right. Turning out over the right a little. And then come back to center. And just so the journey of this left knee is coming out over the right, and we can do that by bringing this left heel back to that right hip. Just see where again you are there. You can even lift yourself up and sink yourself back down, but never again so tensely. So if you need to ease off, do just listen to those knees. Hands on the knees. Find your plumb line again. So again, we're rolling the shoulders back. I kind of tend to hunch and roll the shoulders, but we're trying to roll those shoulders back, the crown of the head, encouraging this opening across the center. Crown of the head lifts up. There's this dropping into the earth, into the ground. Feel this opening there in the hips, this gritty, earthy sensation of the hips, the seat bones. Feel the lightness almost in polarity of the crown of the head as you lift the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. And then we come back to this heart center. We bring the hands over onto the heart, and then we roll those elbows round and out and open up across the center of the chest, stretching those arms out, fingertips away from one another. And then just ever so slowly, just lift and point the little fingers, curl the little fingers up towards the ceiling. Just this little rotation of the shoulders, the shoulder blades. The shoulder blades coming closer, the chest, the heart center opening. Breathe full, deeply into the center of your being. Long, long exhalations. Inhale. And exhale. Give yourself a hug with the left arm over the right. Just embrace your being. Close the eyes. It's all okay. The elbows stay where they are. These hands though come into this kind of funny crossed prayer position, this eagle posture, eagle position. Thumbs coming together. And then feel this. As you inhale, next inhalation, can you lift the elbows, the fingers, the crown of the head lifts? Can you feel that lift? But can you also feel this increased weight dropping down, this increased opening of the pelvis, of the hips, dropping down into the seat bone? Breathe again. Full deep inhalation. Long, long exhalation. Again, fully, deeply, just encouraging the breath becoming our guide, the prana flowing and traveling to the places it needs to. We hold so much in these physical bodies and can hold so much tension, and including trauma from a whole long life. So we're just warmly acknowledging, observing, watching, and then we're releasing. We're taking that left hand over that left shoulder, the right hand behind the back, those fingertips searching for one another. And maybe they reach each other, maybe they don't, but just see where you are. You breathe and feel dropping into the earth, breathing up to the crown of the head, to the heart center, and release. And then we can pick up this left knee, left leg, and just gently rocking it side to side like a baby. Maybe you're supple there, you've got a bit bendy, you could step that left foot into the crook of that arm. But wherever you are, you just rocking this left side like a baby. And then we're going to take that in front of us, plant it down in front. And this is where, if you have that right leg stretched out, can you bend that right leg and bring it in? So we're in a kind of a cross leg posture, but the left foot, the left leg is in front of the right. And then we're kind of almost encouraging the knees to come in, the ankles and heels to come in line with the knees, so that the shins are parallel to the body. This kind of, if you look down, there's this kind of a little box there. Okay. Crown of the head lifts up, you feel you're pushing into the seat bones, lifting up, and then we're going to take the hands out in front. And almost as if we were in that forward bend, we're folding at the waist, coming forwards. And maybe for you, this might be your edge. It might be back here a little. Wherever it is, you breathe into your edge. So it's all a journey. And you're just exploring where you are on the journey, and breathing into where you find it. Breathe into the resistance, inhale, but maybe you could tentatively walk the hands out. We're rolling the head forwards. This time we're allowing the back just this natural curve as the weight of the upper torso gets drawn down by this force of gravity, pulled down into the earth. Okay, breathe into what you find there. These hips, pelvis, the left side leading particularly. Where does the prana need to travel? Where does your awareness automatically alight upon? Can you fully, deeply breathe into that? Can you observe possibly the fluctuations of the mind? Aggravating sometimes with these postures, we aggravate the mind a little. And if the mind's a bit too aggravated for us to kind of observe calmly, then ease off. But if you're okay there, just watching the movement of the mind as it kind of tries to argue its case from not experiencing these deeper sensations. Just watch. Again, just go and be soft with yourself. Inhale through the nose. Maybe exhale, long exhalation out of the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Long sigh out of the mouth. And then we'll walk those hands back up. And we'll bring and hug these knees towards the chest. We'll balance on the tailbone. We'll close the eyes. So within this yogic framework, we're kind of working with these three bodies. The physical body, which we can get into and be aware of these with these different asanas and different postures, which then connect to this the subtle body, the astral body, through these nadis, these tubes of light. And then the subtle body is then connected to the causal body, or your individual soul or jiva, which resides there in your heart center. So visualize yourself as this ball of golden light, this orb of consciousness that flows freely through the Chittannadi. So you're watching, observing the flow of consciousness, the flow of thoughts, the flow of the mind, as you float and rest there in your heart center. Okay, let's open the eyes. Let's stretch and shake those legs out. Shake the legs out. And then we can bend the right knee. And we'll step that right foot out over the left. Step that right foot out over the left knee. We'll hug that right knee, the crown of the head lifts, and this lengthening of the back and the spine, the tailbone, just dropping into the earth. We lift this left hand up towards the ceiling, and we stretch that left elbow out over that raised right knee. So I forgot to add, because the dog was out, so if you feel to add to this, come back out. If you feel to add to it, you could roll over onto that left side and you could bend that left knee, so that left heel is there. Again, just listen to what your knees are telling you is possible. And so, but we're coming back to that. We're hugging that right knee, the crown of the head lifts. We're lifting that left hand up towards the ceiling and stretching that left elbow out over that raised right thigh, the right hand on the ground behind you. Push into that right hand, the crown of the head lifts. So we're feeling this alignment. We're feeling this lengthening of the back and the spine. Before we begin to give it a little twist, we're kind of turning then out over that right shoulder, pushing a little bit of pressure on this raised knee, really firmly supported by the hand on the ground behind you, as those collarbones open up away from one another, turning out, twisting out. Just come to your own edge of your twist. Don't try and go beyond it. If you try and go beyond the realm of your own physical body, again, we agitate the mind, we bring in agitation, and we kind of get nowhere. So we're allowing ourselves to be soft with ourselves, breathing into it, and then release. We're coming out, turning out over the left side, coming back to center. So the journey of this right knee is coming out over the left, and we do that by bringing that right heel back to that left hip. See where you are with that. It might not go far, but we're just feeling again where our bodies are, where we need to explore. Crown head lifts. Hands come over to the heart center. We roll these elbows round and out and open up across the front of the chest, fingertips stretching away from one another. These little fingers then curling up towards the ceiling, just a little twist, a little rotation of the shoulders, the shoulder blades. Can you feel that? Can you feel this shoulder blades kind of working? It's quite a dynamic stretch. The shoulder blades come together, opening across the front of the chest, stimulating the subtle center of the heart. And then give yourself a hug with the right arm over the left. Embrace yourself. Elbows staying where they are, but those hands coming to this kind of prayer position, twisted fingers, elbows, crown head lifting up. Can you feel these two polarities? Can you feel this dropping down into the pelvis, into the hips as well? Inhale, breathe into it. Long exhalation. Inhale fully, deeply. Exhale, down, up and down into the earth. So release. Take that right hand over that right shoulder, the left hand behind the back. Breathing into what you find. This upward moving force of prana, this downward moving force of apnea, a release of tension, a letting go, and the earth will take it on. Allow that tension to drop into the earth. And release. We pick up this right knee, right foot, right leg, gently rocking it side to side, left and right. You could step that right foot into the crook of that left arm, possibly. Again, we're just feeling into this opening, this loosening in that right side, that right hip. And release. So we put that right foot in front of us. And this is it. If you've got that left leg straight out, you can bend that left knee, left leg and bring it in. And come into this kind of cross leg posture, but with the right foot, right leg in front of the left. The knees are coming in, the heels and ankles walking out to in line with the knees. This kind of box there. Again, we're not slouching, we're trying to be open here. We're crown of the head lifting, this dropping to the seat bones. We're folding at the waist, at the hips, with the hands coming out. And again, it's just exploring with your breath, allowing your own breath to guide you into and up to the edge of your own resistance, the edge of your physical body. You're exploring this vessel with awareness, breathing, and maybe tentatively taking a step further. And easing off if you need to. If the sensations, particularly in those hips, in that right hip, are singing out to you a bit too loudly, then ease off. But otherwise, just drop the head forwards, relax the neck, and see what you can do with your breath. 4 deep inhalations. You're breathing into and being aware of that right side. Exhaling up and down, down into the earth. Inhaling prana into where it needs to travel. Wherever your awareness alights, the prana will follow. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And just easing off. Let's walking, coming back up. You can hug those knees again. Balance on the tailbone. Close the eyes. And bring your awareness back to your center. Visualize yourself as this orb of golden light. And so whenever the thoughts or a consciousness, then we're encouraging the consciousness, the awareness to expand and deepen as we take the flow of consciousness back down towards the heart center. Deepening and expanding that consciousness. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And then release. Let's come up. And now so let's come up over onto the knees, just checking the time. Come up onto the knees. We're lifting up. And we're tilting the pelvis, pushing the pelvis tailbone down, tilting the pelvis forwards, the thighs engaged. Take your hands to the lower back, the fingers pointing or resting on the tailbone, maybe the lower back. So we're supporting the lower back as we thighs engage. We're lifting the chest up. We're dropping the head back. And we're taking some full deep breaths here. Encouraging this prana, encouraging this breath up to the center of the chest, to the heart center, to the throat, to the nostrils, to the forehead, to the crown of the head. Long exhalations. Full deep inhalations. And maybe this is enough of a posture for you to be exploring. But if you feel to add to it, you could take that right hand back to the right heel, the left hand back to that left heel. But again, you're pushing the pelvis forwards, the thighs engage, you're protecting the lower back, your head's dropping back behind you. A full deep breath, a full deep opening of the front of your being. Inhale, exhale. And slowly with control, one arm coming up, the next arm coming up. And we're resting the hands forwards and sinking just into the child, the tailbone sinking to the heels, the forehead sinking down to connect to the earth again. The arms back, the palms up. Allow those shoulders to roll open. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling out of the mouth. Allow yourself to soften. Allow yourself to relax. Allow yourself to release any emotion you feel to release. Just let it go. Inhale. Exhale. Just that stream of consciousness just flowing freely within you, within your being, and knowing that it rests on that causal body, that soul rests in the heart, is supported and nourished by love. Feel the love there in the heart. You sink into the ground. Let's come back up. Let's sit over onto one side. Let's stretch and shake those legs out. The heels away, the toes lifting up. The crown, the heels of the hands. We'll come back to this, exploring this forward bend again. We're just exploring where we are. Heels of the hands pushing to the ground. Crown, the head lifts. This is lengthen the back. We bring the hands. In fact, where do we bring the hands? We bring the hands into prayer position over the heart center. So there's this forearms parallel to the ground. There's this kind of circuit, energetic circuit that keeps the prana flowing through that center. We're lifting the crown of the head. We're folding at the waist again. We're not collapsing, but we're folding at the waist, heels away. Come to the edge of your resistance, a new possible edge, and we release. We hold on to the ankles, the shins, the toes. The crown of the head lifts away from the tailbone. We're just, in doing so, we're just increasing the exploration of this edge, this stretch. Breathe into that. Full deep inhalation. And with every exhalation, maybe giving yourself permission to, encouraging yourself to soften your awareness. We've lit the flame of your awareness so that possibly now you're becoming increasingly interested in the flow of prana through your subtle body. Relax the shoulders. And then we'll stretch forwards and up and release. Take the hands behind you, either the fingers pointing towards you or away from you, whichever is more comfortable. And we bend the knees, bring the feet hip width apart. We're pushing ourselves up into an inclined plane. Again, it's a journey, so see where you end up. But we're moving towards lifting the pelvis, lifting the hips, the thighs are engaged. We're edging ourselves up into this tabletop, and then the head, wherever you are, drops back. Full deep breaths, the thighs engaged, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists. Full deep inhalation, long exhalation. Can you feel this breath traveling from the belly up to the chest, the collarbones, the throat, the nostrils, over to the forehead, the crown of the head. Exhale almost down into the ground through the hands, through the feet. Inhale fully deeply, full deep inhalation. And then as you take this next long exhalation, just slowly dropping down to the ground, tailbone hits the floor, you release the arms, you roll out onto the back. You part the arms, palms up, the head dropping, sinking into the floor, into the earth. The knees are up, the feet are flat on the floor. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Can you release the tension in your jaw? Can you wiggle the jaw from side to side, left and right? Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Back to a still place. Turn the palms over and down to engage with the ground. Splay the fingers. We're going to push into the feet, lift the pelvis, lift the hips, thighs engaged, pushing up onto the shoulders again. Encouraging this full deep breath at the front of the body. Once more, you're feeling the throat. And then exhale. As you exhale, just slowly unravel, rolling one vertebra down and then the other, another. The pelvis, the hips dropping, sinking into the earth. Let's do that again. Moving with the breath, inhaling, lifting the pelvis, lifting the hips, coming up. And exhaling, unraveling, rolling down, down, down into the ground. Just one more time. Inhaling, pushing up, lifting pelvis, hips up towards the ceiling, up onto the shoulders, engaged, thighs engaged. And exhaling, rolling, rolling down into the earth. And even when the pelvis hits the ground, can you feel it continuing to drop, to release, to unfold, to unravel? Inhale, exhale. And you could do one of two things. You could part your feet, lengthen the legs out in front of you, part the feet mat width apart, roll the palms up, face up, close the eyes, and to sink into Shavasana. Or if you feel you need to, you could roll over onto one side and help yourself up to add on any socks or jumpers, any blankets, any duvets. Then come back when you're ready and join us in Shavasana. Heels parted, mat width apart. Arms alongside the body, 45 degrees. Close the eyes, relax the jaw. Tune and anchor your awareness to begin with this flow of breath coming in and out of the nostrils. How does that feel? Bring your awareness to the breath. Rise and fall of the belly. Inhale. Exhale. And scanning and slowly scanning the body. Giving your body permission to soften, to relax, to drop into the earth, to drop into the ground. Maybe feel the earth coming up to hold you. Feel the earth coming up to embrace you as you let go. Feeling the toes, the ankles, the heels, heavy and relaxed. The calves, the shins, the knees, the backs of the knees relaxed. Soft, melt. Relax the thighs, the hips, the tailbone sinking into the floor. You feel the backs of the hands on the ground, the fingers relaxed, the palms of the hands and wrists soft, relaxed. And the forearms and elbows. Allow the forearms and elbows to drop. Allow the forearms and elbows to relax and soften. The upper arms and shoulders sinking as well into the ground. As you feel the rise and fall of your belly, moving with this slow, calm breath. Inhale. Exhale. The upper back, the shoulders, the shoulder blades, letting go. Give the permission to the upper back and shoulders to release their tension, to unravel, unwind, be held by the earth. The weight of the head sinking into the floor. Can you feel the neck relaxed? Can you feel the throat softening? Relax the throat as the movement in the backs of the eyes begin to slow down. Slowing down the movement in the backs of the eyes. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let go. Release. Soften, melt, and dissolve. Bring your awareness back to your bodies, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, your heels coming together, your arms stretching up alongside your ears, interlocking the fingers, turning the palms up and out, in one last stretch up above you. And then in your own time, just rolling over to one side and coming up to a comfortable cross-legged posture. Maybe resting the right hand into the left. On the lap, bring the thumbs together, pointing up towards the heart center, and bring the fingers, the index fingers pointing down to the earth. Close the eyes. Bring again your awareness, anchor your awareness to the breath coming in and out of the nostrils. Let's watch the flow of breath as you just check in with how you're feeling. How the flow of consciousness is within you, within your individual being. Full deep inhalations. Long, long exhalation. Allowing that flow to be how it is in this moment. Inhale. Exhale. And shifting our hands into the classic chin mudra, this classic meditative posture, either resting the backs of the hands on the knees or the front of the hands on the knees, just comfortably. Coming back to the breath. Coming in and out of the nostrils. And then we'll round off our practice with these 3 Oms, 3 Shantis. But maybe before we do, we'll have 3 sighs. So as we inhale, as we exhale, long exhalation, just open the mouth and allow a sigh to emanate. So inhaling together. Exhale. And again. And a 3rd time. Great. And bringing that sound of Om then to that exhalation. And if we were to spell it out, it would be A-U-M. So when you watch and observe, just watch and observe the internal vibration of that sound and the journey that it takes within you. Let's join them together in these 3 Oms, 3 Shantis. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Before you open your eyes, bring the hands again to both hands to rest in the center of your chest. Just connecting with your subtle heart center. Breathe. Take your awareness there. Maybe we can repeat to ourselves 3 times. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Inhale. Exhale. And bring those hands, palms together. You could rub those hands quite vigorously together. Feel the warmth of the hands and bring the palms of the hands to cut the eyes. Open the eyes and breathe in that warmth. Close the eyes and repeat a couple more times. And release and opening your eyes in your own time. Namaste, everyone. It's lovely to practice with you this morning. Thank you for joining me with In Consciousness. There's lots more within the yogic, within the Buddha Fields program in the next few days. And yes, and again, if you'd like to join me, I have a class on a Thursday evening. So if you'd like to connect to me on that from the teaching, then I can hang on and I'll send you my email address. You can contact me. So lovely to see you all, and thank you very much for joining in this practice this morning of consciousness.